Sir, we had recently heard about the dispute between India and Nepal. So, can you throw some light on that?
Yes, India and Nepal has one of the best possible relations so far, but of late this relation has soured, and it all started on 8th of May when a road was opened by the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh ji to Lipu Lake Pass, and this road further leads to Mansarovar in the Tibet region. The dispute, the moment this road was opened up, the protesters in Nepal, they went on a rampage. उन्होंने काफ़ी तोड़फोड़ मचाई, हल्ला मचाया, and they started claiming कि ये जो इलाका है जहाँ पे रोड बनाई गई है, that belongs to Nepal. Well, interestingly, till say April 2020, this area was never claimed by Nepal. In fact, उनके मैप में भी उसको नहीं दिखाया गया था. तो क्योंकि प्रेशर बढ़ता चला गया, on 19th of May, they released a new map where this area they showed as part of Nepal. This area included Kalapani, Limpayadhura and Lipu Lake Pass. Now, subsequently on 22nd of May, they said that they are going to pass a bill wherein they'll say that this area belongs to, and they will ratify that this area belongs to Nepal. However, on 27th of May, Nepal delayed the discussion in Parliament, and they said that they will firstly go to the people, have a referendum, and ask people that what steps they should take on this area. Interestingly, a very famous actress would have heard about her, Manisha Koirala. She is the granddaughter of one of the previous Prime Ministers, Vishweshwar Prasad Koirala. She also said that whatever the present Prime Minister Oli has done is right. Now, that raised a lot of heckles because Twitters and they started buzzing wherein people started trolling her. And it was very interesting that why should she talk about it? Well, she is a citizen of Nepal, all right, but she's worked in India all this time. Similarly, the Deputy Prime Minister, who is also the Raksha Mantri, Ishwar Pokhrel, he also started objecting, and he said, in fact, that the Indian Chief of the Army Staff had also talked about the area belonged to them. Well, he's done a mistake because that is going to hurt the sentiment of Nepali Gurkhas. Why should you talk about it? Well, the issue is that there are a lot of Nepalis who are working in India, and also we are aware there are 39 battalions, part of the 7 regiments of the Indian Army. In my opinion, they are trying to instigate these Nepalese who are there, these Gurkhas who are working in the Indian Army. That seemed to be the aim. And the person behind them, well, that is anyone's guess, it is the Chinese. The Chinese, because we are aware that the present party is the Nepal Communist Party, is being given all kind of support by the People's Republic China's Communist Party. Well, the interesting statement which came by the Deputy Prime Minister was also that if need be, then they are ready to fight with the Indian Army also. That is very, very interesting.
Can you throw some light on the comparison between the strength of India and Nepal?
Firstly, in one line, there is no comparison. It cannot be compared. For simple reason, they have no navy at all. They have no air force at all. Interestingly, there is only Nepalese army with 50,000 people against an army of 1.3 million of Indian army. The equipment is also very, very old. So there is no comparison at all. But somehow, I'm sure that the Prime Minister, when he is talking about, Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli is talking, he is not just talking from his own side. He has got some support. Otherwise, he will not use these words. It may not be just the Nepalese army. It would be getting a support from the Chinese also. So this is, in addition, you are also aware what is happening in Ladakh. Ladakh region also recently there is standoff taking place. There must be an offshoot of that. We cannot take it independently. So, firstly, as I said, there is no comparison, but still, in my opinion, the Nepalese Prime Minister is just talking out of his hat.
So, what was the Sugauli Treaty that was signed between India and Nepal?
Sugauli Treaty will date back to 1800s. This treaty, Sugauli is a place in Bihar, and this treaty was signed between the Kingdom of Nepal and the East India Company. In the 1800s, the Nepalese kingdom was very, very strong, and they captured in the present Nepal's east Sikkim. You are already aware that now Sikkim is part of India. And towards the west, they had captured Kumaon region, Garhwal region, and also in the south west they had captured Kangra. Similarly, towards the southern part, they had the Tarai region in the Awadh, also part of as their own area. So all this had expanded the region of the complete kingdom of the Gurkhas. East India Company saw it as part of the expansionists, they wanted to stop them. So there were two wars waged between 1814 and 1816. So at Sugoli, a treaty was signed after the wars when the Nepalese kingdom they got defeated. A treaty was signed between the East India Company and between the Nepalese kingdom. Out of this, the treaty was signed in 1815, but however it was ratified on 4th March 1816. In this treaty, basically what happened, the area which is now part of India, Garhwal, Kumaon, then the Sikkim and Tarai region was given back to India. Similarly, even the region that is in Himachal was also came back to India. India, what I mean is basically the then British India, which is now part of India. So the boundary which was there of the Gurkha kingdom, which had extended up to Satluj Nadi, that is in Garhwal, had got reduced and got shrinked somewhere near Kali Nadi or the Sharda Nadi or the Mahakali Nadi. That is the area of dispute which we'll discuss, which I will highlight subsequently. As far as towards Sikkim is concerned, we had this Mechi Nadi, the boundary they got limited to Mechi Nadi, and towards the south it was the Gandaki Nadi. So Nepal, which is now today a reduced region, 800 km by 200 km, it got reduced after the Treaty of Sugoli. I'll talk about the present dispute also. The present dispute is occurred basically because Kailash Mansarovar, as you are already aware, is in Tibet, Tibet Autonomous Region. That is where people from June to August visit from various communities. It is not just Hindus, it is a revered place for Hindus, the Buddhists, the Bonpo, and also one Ayasahi religion. So all these people, they revere this place and they visit this place. For India, the problem was that the visit used to take place via Nathula Pass in Sikkim. And the distance travelled, they took about almost 2 weeks to reach this place and come back. It was quite arduous. So India wanted a short route. That is why this Lippu Lake Pass was opened up. So the short route, when it was opened up, that is where the problem occurred. So the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra would become easier and faster for Indians. That is what the aim was. As you are asking about River Kali, it is also called River Mahakali, or it is also called River Sharda, which is presently the western boundary of Nepal. Now, the problem is that what is the origin? That is where the discussion starts. We talk about the origin is, as far as India is concerned, we say that Lippu Lake is the origin because there are 3 different places from where water reaches a place called Kalapani and then subsequently the Kali Nadi flows. India says, as far as we are concerned, Lippu Lake is the origin of the Kali Nadi. Whereas as far as the Nepalese are concerned, they are talking of a place called Limpiadhura, which is further west. So the area between Limpiadhura, Kalapani and Lippu Lake that is what they are claiming, an area of 335 square kilometers. And they say since the Kali Nadi starts at Limpiadhura, so automatically Lippu Lake, the place comes under the area of Nepalese. The road which has been constructed to Lippu Lake was about 80 kilometers long, started from Dharsula and constructed over 10 odd years. So suddenly they are talking of this new road, that this has been constructed on the land of Nepal, is absolutely humbug and incorrect.
So there was another dispute which happened in 2015.
Yes, the dispute was basically about the Madheshis. This Madheshi community, which is basically generally the Nepalese Madheshis in the southern part of Nepal, they have close links with people in India and they get married in India. The problem was that the Nepalese government had amended their constitution. In the amendment, what they did was, they basically divided Nepal into 7 provinces. Now, division was not the problem. The problem was that the Terai region, which otherwise could have been an independent province, was itself divided into 5 different provinces. The aim was very different, so that when it comes to the parliament of Nepal, these people had reduced representation. Similarly, they were also talked very lowly as dhoti clad, dark people. So that is why there was a lot of discrimination which should take place. India, since the majority of the supply which is there to Nepal is to India. Even the Chinese goods which come to Nepal are through the Kolkata harbour was also terminated, and it stopped the complete movement of the oil to Nepal. This caused a crisis in Nepal, and well, Madeshi's cause was talked about and rediscussed. Some concessions were given, and subsequently, after that, India opened up. You should also be aware of the geography of Nepal, I'm sure, because when I talked about the Madeshis in Terai region, the upper part of that is the northernmost of Nepal is basically the Himalayas, the higher regions, that is towards China. Then in between what you have is a elevated flatlands of hills. These elevated flatlands are basically the middle Himalayas, and subsequently you have the low complete Terai region. That is where generally the greenery is much more, and that is where Madeshis basically are located. So that is where that is a place where the dispute occurred.
Is it the conspiracy of China? Is it the part of string of pearls that they want to acquire Nepal?
It's a very interesting point being asked by you. Their aim is to surround complete India from top to bottom, and within that, it is also part of the string of pearls where they've tried to acquire land, they've tried to influence the countries to the north, west, south, east of India. If you go to south, you have Sri Lanka, to the west, you have Pakistan, towards north, now Nepal, subsequently Myanmar, Bangladesh also. So, this is part of the string of pearls area wherein they want to influence and let not India development take place. So, I agree with you, that is what it is part of it. Let me also just add very interesting fact. Recently, China had called the Mount Everest, which is part of Nepal, which is being renamed as Mount Komalangma, and they claim that it is part of China. Since a portion of this Mount Everest finishes off somewhere towards China, the southern part, majority of it is in Nepal. So now their claim to Everest is absolutely incorrect. But recently they have claimed. But there has been no voice raised. This happened on 10th of May. No voice raised by Nepal against it. So that itself shows the interest which the Communist Party or the People's Republic of China is showing towards Nepal. They opened up this Friendship Highway, 806 kilometers long, which is linking Lhasa in Tibet to Kathmandu in Nepal. That is with the aim that they are able to supply goods directly to China. Presently, they take a very long way. They have to come through the Malacca Strait, because you are aware that the complete China's concentration is towards the 94% of China's concentration is towards the east. However, by opening up this road, they can easily bring a lot of supply to Nepal directly, and subsequently Kathmandu can act like a triport and provide supply or give supply to India. So that is also a reason that India has to bother about it, and they have to prevent this. Now, what is the method the government takes? That is, governments take, if required militarily, well, we'll have to take a military action. Well, we may have to take, but this needs to be prevented.
So how would you like to close this?
As far as Nepal is concerned, India has carried out a lot of projects in Nepal, and the debt which has been levied on Nepal, if India wants it to be resolved in a different form, if not militarily, then they can assist Nepal monetarily also and let the Chinese influence reduce, because it is very important for our own security and safety in our region that the Chinese influence on Nepal needs to be reduced.